A very good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Monday Motivation with Eugene Wood and myself, Sunil Osman. This show has been produced by Maria Tsangaris. She is in the comments right now as a moderator. Now, these shows happen every Monday between 3:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. live on TikTok, and you can do the recap and watch all the topics we've covered by going to YouTube and also IGTV by looking for Influencer SA. Eugene, what are we speaking about today?
Today's topic is adapting to change. So, it's quite an interesting one, this, because at some point we all have to adapt. Some of us might not like it, but adapting to change. So,
That's right. So today's topic is adapting to change, and we'll be right back straight after this. Sunny Motive, written by Sunil Osman, uses and explains motivational quotes to encourage readers of all ages to take bold steps in life, love, and business. Order your copy now by emailing Lauren Moy Publishing on sales@laurenmoypublishing.com. Also available on takealot.com and amazon.com. Welcome back to Monday Motivation, everybody, with Eugene Wood and myself, Sunil Osman. Today's topic is adapting to change. I've got my notes right here. Eugene, what do you have to say?
well, adapting to change is what keeps us relevant, reliable, and at the forefront of having that competitive edge. Because if you don't adapt, you're going to be left behind. So, adapting to change in a positive way. And then there's obviously the negative way, but we're going to focus on adapting to change and how to 6 steps on how to try and adapt to change today.
Yeah, we're going to get to those 6 steps during this conversation. But one thing that's really important is that we are in an ever-changing world, whether it be on social media, whether it be in love, whether it be in business, whether it be your own life. There's always change happening. So change is a leadership choice. And that's also about remaining current. But it doesn't mean that you change who you are as an individual. So when you are adapting to the change or whether you are changing yourself, you are taking a leadership choice of your own life, which is something Eugene and I speak about a lot, becoming aware of yourself, taking control of your own life. So it is a leadership choice. In order to remain current, we have to change.
Yes. And also, sometimes you'll find that you have no choice but to change, as you say. So you have to change because you have no choice. Whether that be in a work environment where they might restructure and now your job is in a different role, and you know what I mean. So you've got to be it might not change for the best in some circumstances, but then you are still in control of what you do. So adapting to that change, and you're going to have to learn to adapt, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think what you're trying to get to there is that the change is basically unavoidable. And people need to do it in order to adapt. But sometimes what happens is that people will resist change because they believe they're going to lose something about who they are, or maybe they're just scared of the change. There's a fear about change because we get stuck in comfort zones. And then we're not able to adapt to new ways. I mean, for example, if you got to go to a new job, or you're entering a relationship you've never entered before. There's a big one. People are very scared to get out of a comfort zone and enter into a kind of relationship they've never been in before, whether that's based on trust issues or past insecurities. These are all fears that all link to the change itself. It could mean going to another country. But one thing that I can really say is that when you adapt to the change, change is where growth happens. Growth happens when there is change. And it's so important because if you are not growing, you become stagnant. And if you are stagnant, then why and what are you doing with your life? If you just remaining
100.
doing the same thing all the time, you're stuck in that circle of growth. So adapt to change is so important. And if you take something like when computers first came out, you get those older people who was probably my age at the time would say, "No, I don't need a computer for my business. I don't need a computer for my life." Technophobes, yes, but now where are they? They are struggling because they haven't made the choice to adapt to the change of technology, for example.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I remember cell phones came out when I was younger. And like my mom got me one when it wasn't those big brick ones, you know what I mean? She got me one of the small little ones and it was cool, no problem. When I went to the UK, I was like, I really don't want because I always had a phone and I didn't want one. And for a year, I was good not having one until someone bought it for my birthday. And then I was like, no, I had to adapt to that change again. You know what I mean? Like now you constantly have a phone,
Yeah.
but how we have adapted so much technology coming out. Like if you're not keeping up to date, you're falling behind.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using the cell phone as an example. If you look how people, when they first, remember phones, okay, I did have a brick. I had a brick so heavy it used to weigh my jacket down, but the battery's still probably good in the cupboard somewhere, you know. But at the same time, when you go from those, if you use phones as an example, and how they used to be keypads only, now we've got touchscreen only. People were afraid to use touchscreens because of the change. They're like, oh no, my fingers. Oh no, this. Oh, what happens if this happens? That's a very silly example, but also it's a very good example. And we take it right back to something like relationships. If you've been in the same kind of relationship your entire life, and then you meet somebody completely new and they do things differently, they love you more intensely, or they love you differently to what you're used to, you need to make the choice to adapt to that change and accept it. Acceptance is so important. Like you mentioned, change is inevitable, but you need to make the choice to change. When you, for example, from a business perspective, when you're presenting a contract to a company and they want something changed on the contract, are you going to go to them, no, I don't want this job anymore? Obviously, the change is terrible, you will. But if it's something minor like we need you 6 hours a day instead of 3 hours a day, those are the kind of changes you can learn to adapt to.
Definitely. And as we are talking about adapting to change, so yeah. But yeah, you're gonna have to learn
Yeah,
to adapt to all of them. But yeah, we have 6 points
exactly.
today.
Yeah, we got six ways to adapt to change. And when we're speaking about change, we're speaking about in life, love, business, and people, because people can change too. If they embrace the change, they may, and it's a change for the better, people can change for the better if they choose to.
Definitely.
And change, question here, can change you as a person? It will change you, your values perhaps, but you will never lose who you really are. But you need to make the conscious decision on whether you're going to do that. So let's go to the 6 ways. 6 ways highlighted by our producer, Maria, on how to adapt to change. I like the first one, and I'm going to say it. Find the humor in the situation. We take life so seriously sometimes that we forget to find the humor in the situation. Try and find something funny in the moment. It might release some hormones in the brain for a short moment. It might even help you fix a problem. But the best thing about finding humor sometimes is you find a new perspective. So if it was something that's really, really bad, you're going to approach. A lot of change is about how you approach. A lot of change is about how you approach. So fix and find the humor in the situation. Eugene, point number 2.
Talk about problems more than feelings. You know what I mean? Like one of the ways we cope in our lives is the idea that we can work through it. We know that we are able to work through things if we actually find those problems and find solutions to those problems and not let your feelings get in the way. And I know a lot of us get stuck on this because it's easier for your emotions just to be like cloud my judgment and but when you actually okay, let me just stop, take a breath. This is how I feel. Cool. There's nothing is going to change this. This is how I feel. But I need to put this here so I can actually, what is the problem that is facing me? Let me try and deal with this.
Mm.
And actually taking that time to deal with the problem and not allowing the feelings to consume you.
Yes, yes. Very good point. And another point here, and highlighted by our producer, Maria, saying express the problem via a solution rather than an emotion. And very, very closely tied up to that would be point number 3, which is don't stress about stressing out. How many times in this live have I said there are only two things that can stress you out, really, the past and the future? How and what we think about stress is so important because we need to understand how we approach stress, because your actions actually matter. How you react to stress matters. It's about understanding you, coming right back to what we speak about a lot, becoming aware. What is what you're stressing about helping you to accomplish? What is it helping you to accomplish? You can become more resilient when you overcome an obstacle that has stressed you out. It's an achievement when you overcome an obstacle. I did a motivational talk last night, and I was saying how people don't pat themselves on the back for the small obstacles they overcome and the achievements they have.
I'm guilty
Your
of this.
belief on how you guilty. Your belief on how you approach stress can help you deal with challenging situations. That's point number 3.
Point number 4 is focus on your values instead of your fears. You know what I mean? Like, the best way to describe this is to try and remember what is your why? What what is the most important thing to you? Focus on that instead of the fear of the unknown and the fear of failure and all these other fears that keep you back. Focus on what is the most important thing to you, because when you focus on that, you will have that at the forefront, and this is all you care about. The rest of it is irrelevant because this is your why. Your why is what gets you up and gets you out and gets you motivated and gets you to adapt into change, because you have to adapt to change because it's your why that is the most important thing to you.
Absolutely. And we've spoken about the big why before, and so many people don't actually know what the big why is. And one thing you must be aware of is that your big why can change as you evolve and as you grow as a person, but it'll always come right back to you. I mean, as Maria says here again, that stress limits your judgment and a point of view in solving a problem or situation. And when you find out your big why, you will able to understand how to approach various situations as well. It's so
Definitely.
important. So that was point number 4. Focus on your values. Point number 5. Point number 5. Accept the past. Wow. That is a big, hard one for many people. If you haven't dealt with the past, you can't accept the past
I think that's
and fight
impossible
for
for
your
most.
future. It's hard. It's hard, but it can be done. Fight for your future. It comes right back to what you were speaking about, Eugene, the big why. Fight for your future. Even though you never approach change properly, you need to be able to find how you're going to respond to it. Comes back to the stress as well. How are you going to respond to the change? If my big why changes, and it has changed in the past couple of months, you find new ways to approach it. So you accept what's happened in the past. I've done what I've done, and now I'm changing. Change for the positive. Accept the past, but fight for your future is point number 5. Point number 6.
Point number 6 is don't expect stability and, like, expect the unexpected. Don't expect everything to be smooth sailing. I I will testify to this. This is me. This is I everything, like, I have a plan. Everything was working on course. A couple of weeks ago, unexpected news. Boof. All of a sudden, I have to adapt to change. I have to adapt to everything that I was doing and how it all works, and I've had to try and change that. So don't, like, you got to know that what some of the you're gonna sorry expect changes. Some of them unwanted, some of them wanted in your life. You're just going to, it's part of the human experience. You can't control
Yes.
a lot of the things that are going to happen to you. It is just
Yes.
one of those times in life where you're just going to have to go, well, there's nothing I can do about this. Let me just carry on. And in that realization, you have adapted to change and you are moving forward. And that's the most important
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking about moving forward, Maria very nicely put you in one line. I like these little cues. It says, "Your past is your foundation to a better future." Absolutely correct. Because if the foundation is not solidly laid, and let me tell you, when a foundation is not solidly laid, what do? You break it up, you deal with it, you make the changes you have to in order to make sure your future is better. So let's just recap those 6 ways of adapting to change quickly. Uh, Point number 1, find the humor in the situation.
Point number 2, talk about your problems more than your feelings.
Point number 3, don't stress about stressing out.
Point number 4, focus on values instead of fear.
Point number 5 of 6, accept the past but fight for your future.
Point number 6, yeah, point number 6, you said, don't expect stability.
So point number 6 of 6 is don't expect stability. So those are the 6 ways in which you can approach adapting to change and how to change, which have been very nicely summarized by our producer, Maria. We'll be right back with a conclusion for Monday Motivation straight after this. Welcome back to Monday Motivation, everybody. This is live on TikTok. We do it every Monday between 3:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. and then load the topics that we speak about on YouTube and IGTV under Influencers A. Today's topic has been adapting to change, and this is the conclusion. Eugene, what do you have to say?
Well, in conclusion, even 2 of these different uh, 6 different ways require like different skills to pull off. Probably, and you more than likely will lean towards some of them. Like, for instance, me with stability, like, don't expect stability, learn to adapt. But there's one thing that you must always do if you want to be successful, and that to deal with change, you have to accept it. You have to just accept that that is what is coming, what is going to happen. Like, there's nothing, you can't control it. You're just going to have to learn to adapt. In life, in love, in business, there are going to be times where you can't do anything. You're just literally going to have to either swallow it or move on or fight for something you want more in your life. But that comes down to your change.
Absolutely. And in conclusion, I want to say something I said in the very beginning of this topic today, adapting to change, and that change is where growth happens. Don't be afraid of change when it is a positive change. You're always learning, you are always growing. And ladies and gentlemen, that has been Monday Motivation for today. We've spoken about adapting to change. Next week, we have a great topic for you. Our next topic is dealing with misunderstandings. Dealing with misunderstandings. And I'm looking forward to that one as well. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for Monday Motivation, Adapting to Change with myself, Eugene Wood, and with Eugene Wood and myself. I just became Eugene Wood there. With Eugene Wood and myself, Sunil Osman. This show has been produced by Maria Tsangaris. You can see her in my side, and you'll find her on TikTok, Instagram, and love and light to everybody.
Have a good day, guys.